So, let's go back in time for a moment. Before 1971, the UK didn't use the same kind of money system we have today. Instead of 100 pence in a pound, the old system used shillings and pence. There were 12 pence in a shilling and 20 shillings in a pound, that's 240 pence in 1 pound. It was confusing for many people, especially for younger generations. So the government decided to change everything to a decimal system, which simply means 100 pence equals 1 pound. Much easier, right? But to get ready for this big change, new coins were introduced a few years earlier. One of the very first decimal coins was the 10 new pence coin, released in 1968. This was a smart move by the government. They wanted people to get used to the new coins before the old ones disappeared. The new 10 pence coin was actually made to match the size and value of the old 2-shilling coin. That way, shops and banks didn't have to change everything right away. It helped people adjust slowly and smoothly. Now let's talk about the design of the 1968 10p coin. On one side of the coin, there's a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. She's wearing a tiara, and this picture was created by a famous artist named Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on many coins during her early reign. On the other side of the coin, there's a lion wearing a crown. This lion is walking, and it represents strength, power, and tradition. This side of the coin was designed by another artist named Christopher Ironside. Around the edge, the coin has small lines, which is called a milled or reeded edge. The 1968 10p coin is made from a metal called cupronickel, which is a mix of copper and nickel. It feels solid and is quite heavy compared to today's smaller coins. It has a round shape and is bigger than modern 10p coins. In fact, the size was later changed in the 1990s when smaller coins were introduced to make pockets lighter and machines easier to use. You might be wondering, if so many of these coins were made, how can they be worth anything today? And that's a good question. The Royal Mint made over 336 million of the 10p coins in 1968. That's a huge number, so in normal, use condition, most of them aren't rare at all. If you find one that's been passed around and has scratches or wear, it might only be worth a pound or two to a collector. But not all coins are the same. Some things can make a big difference in value. First, condition matters a lot. If the coin looks brand new, with no scratches or wear, and still shines like the day it was made, collectors call this uncirculated. Uncirculated coins are much harder to find because most coins go straight into people's pockets and get used every day. A 1968 10p coin in this perfect condition could sell for 10, 20, or even 50 pounds depending on how shiny and clean it is. If it's inside special packaging from the Royal Mint, like a collector's set, the price could be even higher. Next, there's something called minting errors. These are small mistakes that happen during the coin-making process. Sometimes the design is off-center, or a coin gets stamped twice by accident, or it's made with the wrong metal. These rare mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something worth hundreds or even thousands of pounds. There have been a few reports of strange 1968 10p coins, but they're very hard to find. If you think you have a coin like that, it's a good idea to get it checked by a coin expert or grading company. Another way a coin can be more valuable is if it was part of a special set. Some of the 1968 coins were put into presentation packs and given to banks, schools, or collectors. If you have one still sealed in the original packaging, it's likely worth more than a loose coin. Collectors love coins with a clear history and in perfect shape. So how much could your 1968 10p coin be worth? For most people, if the coin is old and worn, it might be worth just a little more than face value, maybe 1 or 2 pounds. But if your coin is in mint condition, still shiny, or part of a collector's set, it could be worth 10 pounds, 20 pounds, or even more. If it has a rare mint error, the value can jump into the hundreds. Some sellers even list rare versions online for up to £500 or more, though those coins would need to be verified and truly rare to fetch that kind of price. Many people ask, should I keep my 1968 10p coin? The answer is yes, especially if it looks clean and well kept. Even if it's not worth a fortune now, its value might grow in the future, especially as fewer of them are seen around. Some coins are now being lost, damaged, or forgotten in drawers, and over time, that makes the remaining coins more valuable. It's also just a fun part of history. This coin was part of a big change in the UK's money system. It's more than just metal, it's a symbol of a moment in time when the country moved into a new era. Holding this coin is like holding a little piece of that story in your hand. So the next time you find an old 10p coin in a change jar, take a closer look. Is it from 1968? Is it shiny and new? Does it have anything unusual about it? You never know, you might just be holding a small silver treasure worth far more than you expected. And even if it's not worth a lot of money, it's still a great piece to add to your collection. The 1969 50 new pence coin is one of the most interesting and important coins in modern British coin history. Even though it's not always considered rare by collectors, this coin still holds great value for its design, its place in history, and in some cases, its potential to be worth far more than just 50 pence. If you're lucky enough to have one in great condition or from a special set, it might be worth several pounds, or even more. Let's start with why this coin was made in the first place. In the 1960s, the UK was getting ready to switch from the old money system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a new decimal system. Before decimalisation, there were 12 pence in a shilling and 20 shillings in a pound. It was confusing for a lot of people, especially younger generations. So, the government decided to change the system to make it simpler, 100 pence in 1 pound. Much easier, right? To help people prepare for this big change, the UK began introducing some decimal coins before the full switch. In 1968, the 5p and 10p coins came out. Then, in 1969, the 50 new pence coin was released. This was a huge deal because it replaced the old 10-shilling note, which was a paper bill. So, for the first time, a coin had a value as high as a banknote. It was a big step for British money. The 1969 50p was the very first coin to be made in a 7-sided shape. The design is called an equilateral curve heptagon, which means it has 7 equal sides but still rolls smoothly like a round coin. This shape made it easy for machines to recognize it, which was helpful for parking meters and vending machines at the time. On the front of the coin, or the obverse, you'll find a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II wearing a crown. This was the same design made by Arnold Machin, also used on other decimal coins from that time. On the back, or reverse, you'll see Britannia, a symbol of Britain, sitting next to a lion and holding a trident and shield. The design was made by Christopher Ironside, and it stands for strength, peace, and the proud history of the UK. Now let's talk about how many of these coins were made. The Royal Mint produced around 188 million 50p coins in 1969. That's a lot of coins, so in general, the 1969 50p is not rare. If you have one that's been used a lot and shows signs of wear, it might only be worth around £1 to £3, depending on its condition. But if the coin is in excellent condition, for example, shiny and clean with no scratches, collectors might pay more, especially if it was part of a proof set or is uncirculated. There's also extra value if your coin came from a special collector's pack made by the Royal Mint in 1969. These packs often included coins that were never touched by hands, known as brilliant uncirculated coins. These versions can sell for £10 to £30, or even more depending on how well they've been kept. Some coins in original Royal Mint presentation sets, still sealed, have sold for £50 to £100. Rare errors or misprints in the 1969 50p are not commonly known, but coin collectors always look out for strange features like misstruck edges, doubling, or odd metal tones. These kinds of error coins can sometimes be worth hundreds of pounds, though they must be verified by an expert or professional grading service. So, is your 1969 50p coin worth a fortune? Maybe not always, but it could still be worth far more than face value. More importantly, it's a part of British history. It was the first of its kind, brought in during a major change in the UK money system, and replaced a note that had been used for years. If you have one of these coins, especially in good condition, it's definitely worth keeping. It might not make you rich, but it's a coin with real historical value and a story that's worth telling.